2-1. That's right. Recording is in progress. What's going on? It's Ken and Katrina live on a Monday night from coast to coast. We are near Washington, D.C., and we are in the party capital of the world. Where are you, Katrina?
In Las Vegas.
Of course you are. Where are you right now? Because you're in the car, right? Or are you just driven from somewhere? What part of Las Vegas are you in?
It's by the university or something like that.
Okay. So like the south part of Las Vegas is where UNLV is, I think.
I think it's just west or just east
South
of
and
this.
east. Mhm.
It's pretty close.
I spent some time on Bonanza and the Lamb for like a year off and on. A very, very difficult neighborhood. Anyway, but Vegas has a lot of good areas as well, and Vegas is an interesting town. All right, so let's talk about baseball right now. Okay, so we're gonna craft a bet based on live betting and based on what's going on, because there aren't as many games tonight. There's only about 10. We have some scores coming in, and I have the new Google sheet that I want to talk about. The Google sheet is a place where you can put the projections from the day, which I'm showing on screen, which Katrina cannot see because we're talking just on the phone. But I'll walk you through it as people can see this in the video that they're watching. So the Google sheet is cool because it has weather and wind and temperature and rain percentage, and it's really helpful when you want to go game by game. And it's a good way to kind of freeze the projections for the day once the lineups are confirmed. So I believe almost all the lineups are confirmed, or enough are confirmed to make judgments on the games today, as well as the games are starting. So let's talk about the games, and let's talk about if anything is bettable. First of all, you got anything to talk about? Because I'm just going to be boring and talk the way that I talk. So you got to break it up and ask me questions, because you got to be lucky here, and you got to help me pick the right picks as we go, because you are very lucky.
No, not now. Other than we got to talk about people hitting that bell and instead of just subscribing. But this is not like
No, you're right. Yeah, more people need to subscribe. But in the meantime, I'll just pick all the scores of all the games and have fun with that. And the people that subscribe will eventually get there. All right. So first of all, first game of the day is a Nationals game where there's a big old rain cloud out my window right now as I'm looking, because I was listening to this game as the game that I was going to listen to while I did what. I'm switching on the screen to show payroll in Excel 2022, which is now payroll in Google Sheets. I created a Google Sheet for this. I'm on the state of North Dakota, totally big aside right here. I'm just doing other programming, but I'm trying to get through all 50 states. I've been doing that all day. It's really boring. And I just have to take a break and talk to Katrina in Vegas, because it's just so dry doing tax coding all day. So that's why I switched over to this right now. But I was listening to this game while I was doing work, and it started, they're like, there's a rain cloud and some rain, and they're bringing out the tarp. So they're not starting the game there yet for some reason. But when it stops raining, I don't understand why it's raining there. I would imagine they're going to get that game going. And there's supposed to be runs in that game. So that's something you could consider as an over in that game, or a team over in that game. It also says Atlanta's going to win, and they're the 7th pick of the day, and they're only at -143. So you could take Atlanta, Katrina. Do you like Atlanta, or do you like Washington, or do you like runs? What's your feeling?
I'm gonna trust Algorithm.
Algorithm says Atlanta wins 6-4. So do you bet Atlanta? Do you bet that they score more than 10 runs in the game? Do you bet that Atlanta scores more than 5 runs in the game? Do you bet that Atlanta wins the game by more than a run and a half, which is a much better line? What do you feel? I would say just bet Atlanta to win, because the algorithm, you keep it simple. Atlanta's supposed to win the game. If the game goes on, don't worry about runs, don't worry about weather, don't worry about anything. Just worry about Atlanta beating Washington like they're supposed to. So the line is okay. If the line was -200, I would say consider another bet, but it's only -150-ish about right now. So that probably goes on the list as that game gets rain delayed right now, but I would imagine that rain delay will stop. Next, Miami and Philadelphia. Here, it's a very good pitching matchup. And the game is currently 1-0 Philadelphia right now. The algorithm says Miami wins at an underdog. What's that?
It's 1-1.
Oh, look at that. And then Miami has a guy on third in the top of the fifth. So we missed a little window right there. Look at you looking at scores. Good job. So the reason why here is that Sandy Alcantara, if he is still in the game, which is something that we could check if we dove into the stats, I'll just assume he's still in there. He's such a good pitcher that it gives Miami a great chance at winning this game. Now, I'm a big fan of the when a team is on the road like Miami is in this game. I'm a big fan of taking the +1.5 because it covers if they lose the game by just 1 run, you still win your bet. So that is the bet that I would say is the most secure. And if you need to be winning almost every pick on your round robin, like you need to be winning, then that's the pick right now. And that line just changed because they were down 1-0 and now it's 1-1. And they might even get ahead 2-1 if they have a guy on third right now with only 1 out, which they do. So that you'd have to bet that quick right now. And people are watching this video that this game is going to be many minutes past this at that point because we're not live streaming right now. So something you could think about, but we'll keep going.
Are we not live? Oh, we're live.
Say again?
Are we not live streaming?
No, we're not live streaming. I'm just recording the video. And yeah, I didn't want to live stream because I wanted to get a better quality on the video. So Baltimore, Toronto. Toronto's up 2-0 in a game that they're supposed to absolutely crush Baltimore. So that's very difficult to bet at this point because every line is bad. Your White Sox. Now you told me you bet the White Sox based on the Google sheet that you had checked earlier today, right? That's what I saw your text.
Yep.
They tied it up. It's 3-3.
Yep.
Lance Lynn, of course, the first start of the year after not pitching for a long time is why there was a big question mark here. We'll see what happens. I bet it as well. I bet Lance Lynn. I said, you know what? Let's go with 2021 stats. If it doesn't work out, well, it doesn't work out. You're not going to win them all. And so I went with that. So that's tied right now. I'd say you already have action on that, so you don't have to bet that anymore. Pittsburgh and St. Louis says that St. Louis is supposed to absolutely destroy them, and St. Louis is down 1-0 right now. So what am I going to tell you to do?
What's going on?
Pittsburgh. Yeah, Pittsburgh is the number 19 pick of the day, and St. Louis is the number 2 pick of the day. And St. Louis is losing somehow right now in the third inning, 1-0. So what am I going to tell you to do?
You're going to tell me to take to win.
Yes, and their line is probably going to be very reasonable right now. It's probably almost even money or something like that. Very close to even money, I bet, because but they do have a guy on, and if they score a guy in the third inning, you're going to lose your chance to bet that at a really good line. So I'd obviously say right now, if you're watching this, to go with St. Louis to win because they're the number 2 pick of the day according to the algorithm. So there's that. San Diego and Chicago Cubbies. It says San Diego wins this game 6-2 with weather included. This game has not started yet. It's delayed because of rain, apparently. Really? I didn't catch my rain numbers here are wrong. Said 5% rain chance. I guess that's more than 5, unless it's delayed for something else. Well, San Diego's a pretty good line there. So if you haven't bet San Diego yet, that's the 3 pick of the day. So the algorithm says yes on that. Okay. Bet against your hometown. Houston and Texas. It says Houston. Houston's already up 2-0, so you're losing the chance to bet on that, unfortunately. But they are up, so you kind of can't do much there at this point. Cincinnati and Arizona has not started yet. It says Arizona at -143 wins this game by 2.5 runs. That's pretty good. So Arizona to win is what the algorithm says to do. It's the number 6 pick of the day. So there's that. Kansas City and San Francisco. This game I'm torn. I've been looking at this game all day. Kansas City and San Francisco says that San Francisco barely edges this one out by a run, but Kansas City +1.5 is what I am so eager to play for some reason because it's a very good line. But anytime I'm this aggressively liking something, it's probably going to die a slow death. So I don't know what to tell you. The algorithm says barely San Francisco, but the line is terrible. You know what? Over is probably a good idea in this game, which is set at 9. Why? Because these guys are pitching, but they're going to give up runs. I don't know. Tough call there. I'm just going to say tough call because I care too much about it. Minnesota and Seattle. It says Minnesota, barely. But the line is a barely line. So if you feel like taking a winner, it's Minnesota. And Minnesota +1.5 is a very good bet, but it's probably like -200 right now. All right. Anyway, so I just talked really fast, and now ask me questions so you know what to do.
Are you trying to publish this real quick?
No, well, yeah, no, keep talking. Doesn't matter. Let's talk.
Okay.
Discuss.
But I don't necessarily understand the +1.5. So when you were talking about one of the games, you said, "Oh, well, they're gonna probably either win or lose by 1," and then it was you said +1.5. So in the 1.5, you're supposed to win by like 2 or lose by 2 or something.
So you in baseball, there's the money line and the run line, as there are in most sports, right? So in baseball, the money line is if the team is supposed to win. So like Kansas City, San Francisco's game where I talked about this, as well as a couple other games. For example, in Kansas City, San Francisco, if you want to take Kansas City on the money line to win, you get a very, very good line of +152. So you get $152, 1.5 you win on top of your bet if you bet on Kansas City. That's because Kansas City is not a very good team, and San Francisco is playing well this year. The Giants are playing good, so that makes a lot of sense. But Kansas City has good pitcher going, and so the algorithm is saying it's a very close game. And when it's a really close game, if anybody wins by 1, you have another option of a different bet other than the money line called the run line, where you get to take your team and you get to add 1.5 runs to their score at the end of the game. And if that would win, you win your bet. So Kansas City +1.5 is what I would say for you to do.
So if they scored, like Kansas City was 4 and then the other team was 5,
You would win with Kansas City +1.5. Yes.
That wins. But Kansas City, that for the Kansas City 1.5 wins. If you have obviously 1.5 to the 4, right? Because that's over 5.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
That's
So
weird. How to put that.
well, here's the thing. So there's a theory behind the +1.5, which is that when you have home and away in baseball and you only have to win a game by a run to win, when games go into extra innings or when they're really close, or just the way in which a team managing is planning to win a game, is they only need to win by 1. So it's tougher to win by more than 1 in a lot of situations, especially extra innings. So the +1.5 for a team that is on the road is especially valuable, because a lot of great games are 1-run games and where the home team wins. It's mathematically, it works out that way. So whenever I see a situation where you can get a very good line of +1.5 for a team on the road, it makes me want to take it, because there's so many extra reasons why you could accidentally win that bet on top of why you think you're going to win that bet, which is the actual projection of the game flow. So even the best team, if playing at home, can sometimes win a game against a really bad team only by 1 run, because that's the way it panned out in the game score wise. So, it's just a really good bet for a team on the road. And I like to look for those because they do tend to win. I find myself seeing those win more. The team also wins the game and you win, right? You don't get paid as much because you didn't bet on them to win, but you still win your bet. That's important. So, all right, that being said, I want you to come up with 7 teams. I think there are 7 in here. Let me double check scores right now.
Of course.
Okay.
The app that I have right now with the money in it has it doesn't allow me to bet in game. Put it to a round robin.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, there's so many great points. That's why I love FanDuel. Can I tell you how much I love FanDuel? Katrina, I'm dumping all women and just dating FanDuel from now on.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I think FanDuel is a training.
No, FanDuel gives you the option to do anything, and just it is a swing of craziness, put it that way, where you can just bet anything you want all the time at a dime, like 10 cents. Not a dime like $10,000 like some people say, a dime as in 10 cents. And you can basically play the lottery with games all day. And I remember making bets for $3 that paid $184,000 if I got them right. That's how ridiculous you could. And I've never hit one of those, so it's not like you're going to every day. But once in a while, you accidentally will, and that's what makes FanDuel so fun for me is that they do allow that. So you're restricted on your wager, and you're also restricted on round robins in live settings, which I understand why. So in that sense, you can only act on games that have not started yet. So those games are games that are these last 3 games. So I'll give you 3 picks on these 3 games of Cincinnati, Arizona, Kansas City, San Francisco, Minnesota, Seattle. Off the top of my head, it was Minnesota to win, Kansas City plus 1.5, and Arizona to win. So it's 3.
Okay.
And you could substitute Kansas City and San Francisco in that. Yeah, no, just do Kansas City plus 1.5, even though that is actually semi against the algorithm. It is with the algorithm, but also against the algorithm at the same time, because the algorithm says San Francisco is going to win. So anytime you bet against the team the algorithm saying is going to win, you're kind of like, that's me being stupid sometimes. But I like that for all the reasons I said about plus 1.5. So I'm fighting with the algorithm. No, I'm not fighting with the algorithm. The algorithm says that this game is a 1-run game. So no, it's a good bet. It's fine. All right. So it's those 3. All right. Yep. We're out.